Hello and welcome to Won't Be Forgetting That, a podcast talking about all the most awkward and embarrassing moments of people working in the arts and entertainment industry. I'm your podcast host, Seb Muirhead, and today we have a guest. They are a singer, an actor, a songwriter, Henry Rollo.
Hi, Seb.
Thanks for coming on, mate.
Thanks for having me.
No, my pleasure, my pleasure. So I was thinking, I've been getting people on this show quite a bit recently, and we're up to about 30 to 40 episodes.
Oh, wow.
And thank you. That's a humble
huge.
brag. It's a humble brag. But I've kind of realised that I've got people on that I really like their work and admire their work and stuff like that, and then just exclusively ask them to talk about all the lowest points in their career. So I thought maybe I'm going to start trying this, starting this show out with a compliment each time now.
Oh, right.
So I was just going to say I listened to your single, Open Heart Surgery, on the way here in the car, and I fucking love it. I pre-downloaded it, or whatever the fuck you call it, beforehand. But I just wanted to say you're an incredibly talented musician and singer, and I wanted to make you feel as uncomfortable as possible.
Well, you nailed it, Seb. Thank you.
Beautiful. And now you have to give me a compliment.
A compliment. You are looking alive, and
this is all lies. Henry, I edited out half an hour pause where Henry genuinely had to think about everything there. But how have
you look the same. We actually met.
Yes.
When did we meet? 2018.
Probably before that, 2017-ish, maybe?
Yeah. Like how most actors meet. We met working in hospitality.
Oh, of course, yeah.
You were my manager.
A lovely little place that shall not be named. That's no longer around anymore, I don't think.
I don't think so. Can we not say the name? No.
Oh, we can say the name if you want. Yeah, Trunk. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Never worked
Good
there.
riddance.
Anywho. But we did work there. We worked there with quite a lot of people actually that have gone on to be wildly successful, and then myself as well, obviously. But yeah, that place was. It's fucking any hospitality in Melbourne's full of actors, singers, songwriters, performers, stand-up comedians.
The lowest.
The lowest of the low. Still slightly higher than clowns in my opinion. I am joking for all you nerds out there. But yeah, it's always full of them. So there was a fair few there. But since then you've gone on to be wildly famous.
What?
Known Australia-wide. But you just finished your tour of Rocky Horror Picture Show from all over Australia, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I went to Sydney in I think about February. Was it April, maybe? And you were all over the place there, just plastered around
all
the place.
All over the place, like I was just...
You were just lurking
crazy.
in the streets. I found Henry multiple times lying in the gutter.
All over the place.
I did.
That's right. I remember you messaging me and I couldn't see you.
Didn't want to see me.
No, I actually couldn't. I couldn't. Because the thing about that kind of schedule is it's like, you're doing 8 shows a week, and sometimes you have one day off, and then sometimes there might be another rehearsal in the daytime, and I just found with this job, like my day off was like I needed to be silent and not doing anything.
Yeah, that's like, would you say 270 something shows?
17, not 17.
Oh, 17, sorry, 217.
Yeah, I think we did about that many. Yeah, it's not 270. So we did that for about 9 months, and that was, I think, 5 different cities.
Yeah, that's... which city was the worst? No, I'm joking. I have to say Adelaide.
The Adelaide theatre was actually probably my
It's
favourite.
Beautiful there, isn't it?
It's like an incredible theatre.
I'm only joking, Adelaide, as well. I have been and performed in you multiple times. You're inside of you, Adelaide. I've been inside of you multiple times. But yeah, it is a beautiful place there.
Yeah.
I just had to think of one city there, and I couldn't say Melbourne.
No, I would have thought of the same one. But I think Gold Coast was probably one of my favourites. We were only there for, I think, just longer than 3 weeks, and it I don't know. It's just like a holiday town where we were. It was just like sunny. I'm not really a beach person, but it was sunny, and they had theme parks. And
knowing you, Henry, you were down Surfers Paradise every chance you got as well.
Oh,
hanging out.
I haven't
with
changed one
mates.
bit. Yeah, I'm still as pale as I've always been.
Whiter than me, which is impressive.
Yes.
But yeah, so you finished that last month, was it?
We finished that 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago, fuck.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for making time to speak to little old me.
Shut up. I was fishing.
But were you in a massive come down afterwards as well, or is it just kind of a bit of a relief?
Yeah, I would definitely say it's been a bit of a relief. I think, I'd never done a show as long as this, and it's still not.
Few people have, to be honest.
Well,
with you.
I mean, in music theatre, like when people do like year-long contracts, it's
Yeah.
not unusual to do that many or more than 300. But I'd never done more than I think about 50 on a show before.
Yeah,
I'd never really been one to be honest, even really want to be in one of these touring shows.
Yeah.
It's really is a marathon rather than a sprint.
Yeah, it's such a commitment. Like, just not purely on stage, but like your entire life has to change as well, hey?
Yeah. And so and the only times I auditioned for shows that were like that, I didn't get them. And then other times they came and I didn't want to be in them. And so it just never happened. But this one, the role of Riff Raff was so vocally demanding, I found.
Yeah.
Just this like character voice as well, just like
of course,
yelling and doing cackling throughout the show and then coming out and screaming Time Warp, and it's to do that all the time. We sing Time Warp twice in the show.
That's a fucking full-on song as well.
Yeah. I mean it's on the vocal part is only short, but just to do it all the time, I was like, I'm really happy to not yell anymore for a minute.
Just sit quietly in a dark room and just be like, no, please, nobody. Talk to me. But yeah, and like as you mentioned, I don't think I said before, you were Riff Raff as well, which is probably one, if not the most fun characters in the show, which is hard to, or like that's a big thing saying as well, because Rocky Horror Picture Show is filled with fun characters. But fuck, everyone loves whatever Meatloaf's character was called.
Eddie,
everyone loves Eddie, Riff Raff, and then spoiler alert, when the doctor stands up out of the wheelchair at the end. I think that's where my gauging from the few times I've seen it, that seems to be the biggest points that people enjoy. Or how many perverts are in the audience whenever Rocky gets out of the tub or whatever it is. Yeah, I think that's a personal highlight, that part anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so did you find yourself having to, I don't know, beat away your adoring fans?
No, not at all. It's actually funny. I was wearing so much makeup in the show and then a long blonde wig that I would often walk out at the stage door and no one would know who I was. And I'd be standing with people like Alice, who was Eddie, and Laredo, who was Rocky. And I'd be standing with them and everyone would sort of swarm around them and then they wouldn't know.
Do you feel like happy that you weren't recognized?
I kind of like it. I kind of like it because contrary to popular belief, not all performers are obsessed with being the center of attention.
Most are really awkward human beings, quite introverted.
Yeah, I mean, like I always took the time to talk to people, like if they wanted to, but I never would leave stage door, walk out like pigeon chested, ready to. Sorry,
everyone, I was Riff Raff.
Yeah, no,
I thought you might want that photo. Yeah,
it's more that I if they wanted some contact with me, then I would absolutely
want to
talk to them. But I just never wanted to assume. There was one time in Perth actually where I walked out and there were heaps of people around and I saw some people who were in really amazing costumes, and there was a older man dressed as Riff Raff, and I went over to him and I was like, I really love your costume, and he was like, thanks so much, and some people came over to this group and were like, can we get photos with you all? You all look amazing. And so there I am holding the phone and taking photos of all of them.
Did you tell them?
Eventually I did. But I could see like the band from the show and stuff like pissing themselves because
that's fucking great.
There I was just
photographing the more famous Riff Raff.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. At the end I was like, I actually played Riff Raff. And he's like, oh really? When? I said, just then.
You just saw me. Yeah. You spent 2 hours looking at me.
And they're like, oh my God, I'm sorry. And then we got photos.
Or they're like, are you lying to me?
I think they could see that I had, white paint in my sideburns and realised.
Like the panda eyes.
Yeah, I wasn't just really tired. I had just wiped off.
Maybe both as well.
Well, I was actually.
Depends how far into the tour you were. But that moves quite nicely on to the the podcast that we're on just now as well. So, I know you've listened to some of the previous episodes as well. You mentioned you listened to Carrie Made a Judge's episode.
Yeah, love Carrie. Yeah.
She's fine. No, I'm joking. I love.
We went to drama school together.
Yeah, I know, right? It's so funny. So I don't know if you listened to her episodes where she almost shit her pants on Neighbours.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I'm really hoping that you have a shitting your pants on Neighbours story for me.
I don't.
Okay, well, thank you for listening to the podcast, everyone. We're wrapping that up for this week. Wait, sorry, you said not on Neighbours? No, please tell.
No, I know. I mean, I don't have any shitting stories, unfortunately. I didn't realise that was a prerequisite for this podcast.
It's my holy grail, but I realised as well, turning up and asking all these terribly talented people, have you shit yourself on stage before? It's probably not the best opener.
It doesn't happen all the time, but I've definitely had days where it's like, today's the day, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, well, my first ever story on this podcast is I almost shit my pants during an audition for a certain Shakespeare company in Melbourne, because I had really bad food poisoning and they didn't have toilets at the audition venue.
Oh,
so,
fuck, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why that was the birthing thing of this podcast.
Yeah.
So I want to find one day just that one person that has actually shit their pants. And I've heard stories of other people as well, but I don't quite know them or I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
Just heard the stories, so one day.
Yeah, I mean, I can't use other people's stories.
I know, that's the thing as well.
Yeah.
I just need to find them though.
Yeah.
That one person from Cats, I heard the everybody's heard about that in Melbourne.
I don't remember that happening.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that one. But anyway, it happens, and I actually think that I don't think it would feel humiliating, obviously, but I saw someone do that, like, on stage.
Fuck, there's a show to remember.
Yeah.
That's live theatre.
Well, I'd be like, I mean, you poor thing, but good on you.
I know,
like, it just
right?
fucking happens.
Yeah, right, genuinely. So much of that stuff, especially like when you're doing stuff live, you're like, man, I've done so much fucking dumb stuff that I'm like, yeah, look, it's alright, fucking happened in the moment, there's nothing I can do about it now. Yeah, especially bodily functions.
Yeah.
But we'll swiftly move on from then to any of our prepared stories. So I don't know if you have any particular way that you want to tell them. I usually try and leave the most salacious one till the end. All these beautiful perverts keep listening to it.
I don't feel like I have anything
Otherwise, we can
super full on. I'm more like...
If we can just talk towards the microphone as well, that'd be lovely.
I'm sorry about that, Seb.
A terribly professional Henry is speaking away out of his window just now.
I'm sorry.
He just doesn't want to look at me. And that was one of the things he said. He said, you can do this podcast with me, but I do not want to make eye contact. And I've been trying to hold it the entire time. But yes,
embarrassing.
We'll keep this part's not getting edited out as well.
Okay. Nice to know you have my back. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not really a scandalous story, but I had an interesting experience whilst we're talking about Rocky.
Yeah.
I had an interesting experience with, we were doing this live filming show in Sydney. So basically, there were going to be cameras set up and it was going to be live streamed to cinemas around Australia.
The entire show?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be redistributed. We weren't, it was stuff in the contract that it was just like, it's just for this one live streaming.
The DVD in the parking lot afterwards.
No, exactly. And so we were doing that, and obviously it's quite a stressful thing.
You're in cinemas, Henry. That's exciting.
Well, I mean, cinema's live. Like, it's not how I imagined it. But I was a bit unwell the couple of days prior to it.
Yeah, right.
And so my voice was tired, and I was like, "Fuck! I've got several shows to do before we even get to the live one."
Oh, sorry, the live recording.
Yeah. And so I went and got it was the day off on Monday, and I went and got a vocal unloading. So I don't know if you know what that is, but it's like vocal unloading is basically it's like physio for your voice.
Oh, really?
So it's we carry a lot of tension in our neck muscles and around our vocal cords and stuff like that. I carry it everywhere,
but yes.
Yeah. And so basically vocal unloading is a professional thing. You want someone qualified to do it because it's obviously a very...
So not someone off Gumtree?
No. Okay. It's obviously a very delicate part of your body to have massaged, and they need to really know what they're doing. Anyway, I'd never really had one done before, but I know people who swear by it.
Yeah,
and
right.
Some people get it done like every week or every second week, particularly if you're doing shows over and over again.
That would make sense, yeah.
And so it just basically can be a good reset for the muscularity around that area. And I had it done, and I thought, well, it's a good time to do it because I've got 3 days before we do this live thing. And I had it done, and it kind of hurt a little bit, and then it was fine.
Can I ask what it is? Like, is it a massage for your throat? Like,
Oh yeah, I mean,
happens?
I realize here I am trying to demonstrate on a podcast,
Henry's
which
just been massaging
yes,
his-
for those playing at home, I'm touching my neck.
Yes.
It's essentially like I don't know, it's like imagine pressure, putting pressure and
Yeah, right.
This is really not
Henry just
interesting
keeps
to a
poking
podcast.
his throat.
I'm
and
just
then
showing you,
yeah.
but it's like it's
Okay.
imagine just like a muscle massage, except it's on your quads, and
Yeah,
so
right.
and so it's getting
God,
in
that's
there in sensitive
intrusive.
spots. Yeah. That's, hence why you need it to be done professionally and not just someone
Who
having
does
a play.
this then? Like a masseuse or like a vocal coach?
No, it's a special. It's like a.
So it's like a whole special thing.
Yeah, but it's
wow.
it's part of physio.
Yeah,
generally.
right.
And so anyway, long story short, I had this done, and then a day later, my voice just went, and
Oh, shit.
and like it didn't work for me in the way that I thought it would, and so
Yeah.
it had changed. Maybe it's because it was the first time getting it done,
Yeah,
or
right.
it was too intense of a shift.
Right.
Or maybe I tried to sing a little too early.
Yeah.
But basically, my voice was like gone.
Holy shit.
Not in a hoarse way, you know,
Yeah.
like it was the muscles felt weird.
Wow.
And so I took the show off the day before, which was the practice of the screening. So that was us getting to know
Right.
what the space would be. Anyway, we got to the evening, and it was because it was the screening. I was billed
Yep.
that I would be doing it.
Where
so
you
I
got your
had,
thousands
I had
of
to
your
do it.
adoring fans that have
shut
turned up to
the
this.
Your favorite joke is
It's not a
that
joke.
I'm some conceited dickhead. Anyway,
That's not a joke at all. That is 100% true.
anyway, I basically had to do it. And so I got given a prednisone, or Predis, as we know them in the industry, which is essentially...
theatre drugs.
it's a steroid. It's basically, a lot of people take them. It's an emergency type. It's the Mariah Needs to Sing Tonight pill.
Exactly, right. It's what, you push through, but you don't want to be on them for a long time.
Yeah, and you could do damage on it.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I basically had this. I'd never had one before as well, but
Jesus
I was like,
Christ,
I need
Henry,
to...
stop doing all these things for the first
Well,
time.
I had to. It was extraordinary circumstances.
Yeah.
And basically, I did this show, and I felt delirious.
Yeah.
And every time I spoke, every time I sang, I'd be like, "What voice is this?" Like, this
What voice
feels.
was it?
Well, it was just like it was me attempting to recreate what I had done 100 times before, except every sound I made, I was like, "This sounds weird," or like my muscularity feels off.
Wow.
I feel like I've said muscularity a million times in this.
No, please
conversation.
keep saying it.
It's just such a good word, so many syllables. And basically, I did the whole show, and I was delirious, and I was like, it was like a fever dream, and I was just thinking, I never ever want to see this. I'm devastated that this is the one that's been filmed.
That is such that's absolutely classic as well. Obviously, anytime something big's coming up, something like that will happen.
Yeah.
But have you watched it back? Since
No,
then?
I mean,
okay.
thankfully, there's no way to watch it. I think one day it'll resurface, and
Presumably,
and I'll report it and get it.
You're just every single day,
like-
Henry gets up on YouTube, just typing in Rocky Horror Picture Show, filmed live, 2023 Australia.
Delete.
Strike. Yeah. Wow, that sucks.
Yeah, it was awful.
Was it like a noticeably different performance? Did anyone else comment on it?
I mean, people who had seen it multiple times
Yeah.
didn't say that it
Okay,
felt
that's
different.
good.
But,
So it was more just of a fever dream on your behalf then.
yeah, but I'd seen little clips and stuff, because that's the
Yeah.
other thing I found about doing Rocky Horror is that I've constantly got people filming us.
Yeah,
like,
even though you're not allowed to.
no,
Stop
you're
it.
not supposed to.
Stop it.
I know, and it's just on TikTok. It's
Yeah.
like I'll go on TikTok and there's some really poorly filmed thing of me
it's
doing time warp that day.
Great, isn't it? The
And
sound
then-
quality sounds like it's from a tin can. Yeah.
No, it's blurry, and then you have someone in the comments telling you how shit you are, and it's like
wonderful
It's
stuff.
like, oh, this is live theatre now.
It is. It's really sad, and it's
Yeah.
like it's people commenting on it as well, which I think is more sad than what. Like, I don't know. Just go and fucking watch live theatre. Don't
Yeah.
record it. It's never. It's the same with live concerts.
Yeah.
Never like your iPhone 8's not going to do you any good recording it. Like nobody wants to watch that back. Just fucking enjoy it.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I'm sweating in a rage now. But did that kind of work for the character of Riff Raff as well, or was it not?
What kind of work?
Sorry,
me being delirious.
Yes.
Yeah. Not the way I play it. No.
You're just taking prednisone every single night now.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it worked, but yeah, I'm sure it wasn't as bad as it felt. But
I think often that those times they feel a lot worse in the moment, and then sometimes people don't even notice them afterwards. It's tough when it's recorded because you know there is a possibility of seeing it back again.
Yeah.
Which is the beautiful thing about theatre, is sometimes you can really fuck up and then you're just like, I'll never watch it back.
It is the beautiful thing of theatre, is that it's just a moment in time, and then you move on. And I think that's what I find tricky about being filmed, is because people think, well, you do it all the time, so it should be perfect.
So different,
you should know what
right?
you're doing. And it's like, no, because I do it all the time is why there is such variance.
Yeah, right.
It's like, I mean, I might be having a day today where my coffee's disagreeing with me and I'm worried I'm going to shit myself.
Exactly.
And then that's filmed on TikTok.
Maybe you can't see it from the 20th row back, but when there's a camera right in your face, they can see the sheer fear in your eyes.
Forgive me for not wanting that moment documented and then given to
I
my haters in the UK.
Personally would love to see it. Or have you got haters in the UK?
No.
Fucking British people, the worst, I'll tell you that much.
No, then.
As a British person myself. Fuck them. I'm joking as well, obviously. God. But it's the accessibility of being able to write to anyone now as well. And I've made the mistake a few times where...
Of engaging.
Not engaging, but just looking it up.
Yeah.
And just like seeing, even just like a few TV commercials I've done, which are nothing. Like, who gives a shit? But it's just people writing the most fucking dreadful things underneath them. I'm like, why did I look this up?
Yeah.
It's a TV commercial as well. Like, it's not even like I'm that attached to it, but it's still you, obviously. Anyway.
The way I look at it, even though I do find myself looking at the comments sometimes, the way I look at it is the good the dopamine that you might feel from reading a nice comment is not going to...
It's like
outweigh
a drop in the ocean from the amount of fucking
how shit the negative
feel. Like it can just be a one comment sometimes as well, but that's all that fucking stays with you. At night time, you're sitting there, and you're like, I just want to tell that person, like, that's not what it was like. And when you, why am I even thinking about this? Oh, fuck, it's fun. Sorry, this is also a therapy podcast.
Yes, apparently, yeah.
Where we're all just talking about how much we hate our lives. Me, anyway, that's how much I talk about it. But but it's one of those things where it is, unfortunately, stuff that the negative sticks with you more than the positive.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I'm sure that you were fantastic on that live show as well, or that recorded show.
Who gives a fuck? It's just done, you know?
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah.
Just have to move on.
Man. You did 5,000 other shows. So. So do you have any more Rocky Horror Picture ones? Or are we allowed to talk about them?
I mean, I feel like it's tricky because some of them, the stories belong to other people.
Yeah,
so I don't want to...
That's fair. We've had that quite a lot with other people saying, this is someone else's story and I don't feel right saying it.
Yeah, I mean, this one I was slightly involved. Well, I was involved. Basically, a scene partner forgot to come on stage. And so...
I fucking hate that.
I know. And it was... I mean, I have no resentment towards her because it happens. It fucking happens.
Yeah.
But what had happened in that moment is that you're like, are they going to come? What's going to happen?
Yeah.
It was a really iconic scene at the start. They had a very famous line in it. And so myself and another scene partner who was on stage start telepathically communicating.
Which you need to do in the moment.
And just being like, you say that line and then I'll say this one. And so we basically did the scene without her.
How long was she away for?
She was away for about... I don't know, it's probably about 30 seconds or 45 seconds.
Which is 12 years in stage time, yes.
It was right before Time Warp. And
fantastic.
And so we basically did that. And all I could think in that moment, I was like, well, now I got to sing high notes, so just move on, forget about it, focus on that. But afterwards, I was really annoyed that it happened, not because she didn't come on, but because I was like, why didn't I know her lines better? It's like we've done it so many times, we've done it 150 times, and I still didn't retain her lines.
I guarantee if you were asked now what her lines were, like for the entire thing, you could say it. It's just that deer in the headlights moment when that happens. Yeah. And because you're uncertain, if you start saying it and then she'll burst in and like go over you and it's a weird and messy. So yeah, I'm fully there. Oh, and as the person that missed their cue to come on, you're on your back foot for the entire rest of the show as well. You feel like shit, nothing's proper in your head. You can't wait to get off stage to apologise to yourself and the other cast members, being like, I'm so sorry, I fucked that up. Yeah. But I fucking hate that. That is one of my least favourite things. But especially when you don't really have anything to say on stage, you're like, the story needs to progress with this person and I can't really improv around this. Especially in musicals, because it's so heavily scripted as well. Whereas in your arty-farty theatre shows, you can kind of just fuck around a little bit and then people don't really notice.
Yeah, I guess that's a benefit of Rocky Horror, is that it's such a knowingly absurd, silly show.
Yeah, that's
that
true.
You can, like the character Frankenfurter breaks the fourth wall.
Yeah.
And so I remember doing a show with Jason Donovan, and his Frank is just wild and just so freaking loose. And basically there was a show where he just forgot his lines, and then he just looked at me and said, Riffy, I forgot my line. And then I just said it to him in character, and it really worked because that would be our character dynamic.
So you say everybody's line in the show then, is that what I'm getting?
Well, I have to be ready to, but I'm
to pick up everyone else's slack. That's what the exclusive
it's the character,
here.
I'm not
news.com.au if you're listening. Riff Rass spills the beans. No, I'm joking. But yeah, it is one of those things where it's lovely when you can break the fourth wall, because I've seen one of the previous incantations of Rocky Horror Picture Show, and Frankenfurter didn't berate someone in the audience, but they told them off for filming. Yeah. Another thing, if you're going to secretly film, turn the flash off.
I know.
That's all I'm going to say.
It's quite funny.
Yeah, but they told them off quite sternly. Do not film this, please. Especially because, like what you were saying, it's like you're filming up somebody's nose. They were in the front row. Very bizarre stuff. But it's nice when you can interact with the audience like that.
And just to clarify, it sounds like I'm throwing people under the bus for forgetting things. I forgot plenty of things.
Everybody does. It's live theatre.
Yeah.
We're human, unfortunately.
You just have to, when it happens, you just have to be like, move on.
Yeah, exactly, right? And it'll happen, one night to someone, another night to someone else. Yeah. Like, fuck, man. As long as you're not standing there on stage crying, being like, no. I ruined the show. Just move on like a fucking professional. Hello. Now, before we get into our next story, I've got to tell you the main reason why I'm able to fumble through my awkward and embarrassing day-to-day occasions. Coffee. Now, fortunately for myself and all of the listeners, we have paired with one of Melbourne's best coffee companies, Coffee on Cue, a coffee worth talking about. Get ready to caffeinate yourself through your next awkward moment with Coffee on Cue's signature Elevate blend. Crafted in-house with precision, each sip delivers delightful flavour notes of strawberry, chocolate and marmalade. And here's the deal you won't want to miss. Coffee on Cue is offering an exclusive discount to all our listeners. Simply use the code WBFT15 at checkout to enjoy an incredible 15% off all coffee purchases. That's right, WBFT15 is a key to savings, making sure you're properly awake to remember your next big embarrassing moment. Now, this code is valid for all coffee products, so make sure you stock up on your favourites. And the best part? You can use the code WBFT15 as many times as you like. So don't miss out on the opportunity to enjoy the finest coffee Melbourne has to offer. Simply visit Coffee on Cue, and that's QCUE.com.au, and enter the discount code WBFT15 at checkout to unlock 15% off your next coffee order. That's WBFT15 at coffeeonq.com.au. Coffee on Cue, where awkward moments pair perfectly with your daily cup. And moving on like a fucking professional from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah.
What else do we have for me then, Henry?
What else? Oh, I have a story that really stuck with me.
Beautiful.
An audition story.
I find auditions are the main source of embarrassment.
I mean, if you're going to talk about shame as an actor, auditions are going to come up.
Well, it's those things because well, except from the Rocky Horror Picture Show for yourself, like you're auditioning more than you're working for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're doing more auditions than you are doing days on set or in the theatre or stuff like that. So of course you're going to fuck up more there. And sometimes you just go in and you're like, I don't know what they want.
Yeah.
I'm just going to turn up with a strong choice,
Yeah.
and it's a bad choice, but I don't know what else to do.
I haven't really I'm as for an actor and a performer, I don't audition a great deal.
Henry's offer only for anyone listening.
No, that's absolutely not what I'm saying. I just more mean over the years I kind of I left my agent a while ago, and then I just was happy not auditioning for things. It was only if a project really was something I really wanted to do that I would try and get an audition for it. But there was something about I needed a break from the life of going in and auditioning for things that I didn't feel right for, and constantly feeling depressed about being a performer. So that's what I mean when I say I wasn't really auditioning for a while.
Yeah, that sounds like a great thing, honestly. Yeah. And it's changed a little bit now with self-tapes. I'm not too sure. I'm not a musical theatre person myself, but TV and film and TV commercials especially, it's all just self-tapes now. So you don't even go into the room anymore, really, for the most part.
Which is quite impersonal.
Yeah, and I never know what to do. And you're always just recording with your friend who's on Zoom, who's reading the lines for you. Because, I mean, fuck, I'm not getting someone around to my house every single time I have an audition. Because... like people have lives. Yeah, so I'll get them on Zoom.
Yeah.
And just a little tip for anyone that's starting out: never read your own lines and then play them back off camera, and always have someone to read with you, because that is the two biggest faux pas. So if you get an audition to film yourself, get someone to read for you.
Yeah, where you've filled in like a break that you think will be about the time.
Or you just pretend like someone else is saying the lines and you pause, and then you don't have anything else in there as well. I've seen a couple of them. I mean, we all make mistakes when we start off. But don't do that. But yeah, sorry, we were in person for this audition, were we?
Yeah, so this would have been a long time ago. It was pre-drama school.
Oh, wow.
But it was a TV, I don't even remember what it was for. Let's say it was like a kids' TV show or something. And so I'd been given a side, and I'd learnt it. I'd gone in. It was like 9:30 in the morning, which is always when my auditions seem to be.
Mine's always at 2 p.m. So they're always just tired.
Bitch,
that's well, I mean, it's great, but they're just seen 1 million guys that look like
and
me.
They've just had
like,
lunch.
Yeah, exactly. And they're just like, is this fucking over you? What's wrong with this guy?
Moving the mic.
Yeah, sorry, just moving the mic there.
And so I went to this office, and there was a receptionist, and I said, hi, I'm here for this audition. And she said, okay, take a seat. She'll see you in a moment.
Yep.
And waited and gets past my time, about 15 minutes past my time, and I haven't seen anyone else come in. And
okay.
I was like, this is like, it's like,
you're one of
quite
two
intimate.
people. Yeah.
Anyway, so I get called in, and she's like, oh, what's your name? And I'm trying not to say her name.
Yeah, that's all right.
Anyway, so then we sit down, and she's like asking me about me and about my interests, and it was being really warm and lovely. Yeah, it was really nice, and not really a standard audition experience.
You not come in,
get in, get out.
Say your name, your agent, your height, and then you get straight into it.
Yeah, no, it was very personal. Very warm, like I said, and she was asking me about theatre and some of my interests and any shows I'd seen, and we chatted for probably about 15 minutes.
But that's quite a long time of just chit-chat and an
audition time, that's ages. And then she's like, oh, thank you so much for coming in, Henry. It was really lovely to meet you. And then I was standing up, and I thought, oh, do you want me to, am I going to do the side?
Yeah.
And she said, oh, no, don't worry about it. We don't need to do that. And I was like, wow. Oh, okay, great.
And for anyone that's not quite as familiar with the acting world, sides are basically just your audition piece. Yeah. So like a couple of pages of dialogue or whatever. Yeah. So no audition.
No, I didn't have to do it. And so I was like, okay, that's interesting. And so I thanked her, and I left, and I'm walking outside, and I was wondering what had just happened. And so I go and open my email and read the brief, and I was in the wrong building.
Oh my God. What do you mean by like wrong casting office entirely, or wrong?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. and I don't know what I auditioned for, or what I was seen for. I don't know if I got it, but they wouldn't have had my contact details.
Oh my God.
I couldn't believe it.
Did this casting person not say? I mean, that's a real power play on your behalf. If you just turn up to like a casting office and be like, "Hey, like, audition me."
Yeah, this kid's got guts. Like, I'll see him for. I essentially feel like it was a go see or whatever, where you just pop in and introduce yourself.
Wow.
Like maybe she saw me and thought, I don't remember agreeing to this, but I've probably forgotten.
Maybe the receptionist was like, "Fuck, I'm sure this is scheduled somewhere." Yeah. But like, we'll just do it. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that always stayed with me because I was like, I just always read.
Yeah, that's a big. And again, anyone that's starting out, or like even if you've been established for a while, I
just double check,
quadruple read everything. Because I've turned up a couple of times and like, you didn't dress in a suit, and I'm like, oh, it didn't say in a suit. What fuck? And everyone else in the waiting room's in a suit, and I'm like, fuck, I've turned up in a singlet and shorts. But did the other casting office that you were meant to go to, did they get back in touch with you? Or
well,
your agent?
I spoke to my agent and she's like, oh, they'll still see you. And I was like, I can't do it.
Wow. So the original person that you weren't meant to see but did see, did they ever get back in touch with you again?
No, but they wouldn't have had any way to. Unless they, remembered my name and my face and found me. But like, also what for? Like, I certainly didn't go in...
with anything
that might be of interest.
Was it like an impromptu? That's so strange.
Yeah,
I can't believe they didn't say anything as well.
And that's why it was really bizarre, is because I'm like, it's actually not just my fault. It's their fault for going along with it.
But maybe it's like, I don't know, you hear certain stories where like, I just turned up, maybe more so in the olden days, with my headshot to a casting office and I'm like, I know you're auditioning for the new, I don't know, Transformers. See me. And they're like, okay, and that's how we got the role. But I mean, if they're not even casting anything at the time.
No, exactly.
And you haven't turned up with anything.
Maybe I was on a date. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe they were interviewing people for a job. Like, I love that guy. We don't have any of his contact details, so I'm so sorry. Or you walk out and you're like, do not let him in the building again. I do not know who the fuck that was.
Like I want to go in that building again.
Oh.
Like, no, as in because I'm so embarrassed.
No, I would be the same as well. I'm casting directors. We've had casting directors on the show before. They have seen it all.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you're not the weirdest person they probably even met that day.
Not.
Yeah.
No.
So I'm sure that would be like, that wouldn't even be a blip on their radar.
No, they wouldn't even remember.
Yeah.
It's when I'm like, oh, that was.
But it's you turning up, and again, it's the fear in your eyes.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck.
Yeah, I'm a pretty awkward person. I was even more awkward when I was 19. Like
we all were.
Yeah.
Maybe you should just turn up to that. Are they still around? You don't have to say.
I think so. Okay. I think they are, yeah. I've been
again.
There. I've been there since. And
have you?
Yeah.
Never brought it up?
No.
Okay, cool.
No.
I was going to say, turn up. Do that again. Just start turning up to all casting offices.
I love going back places that I haven't been in like 7 or 8 years and then them having no idea that we've met.
I know, right?
I much prefer that because
me too.
We all deserve a chance to grow up.
Yeah, exactly, right? I've fucked up so many auditions. I'm like, you're either being really nice or you genuinely don't remember me. And either way, thank you.
Yeah.
Because I have done some fucked things in these rooms.
Oh, me too. I have another one that where again it was a 9:30 in the morning, and this time there were other people in the waiting room, so I knew I was in the right place. And there were no other male presenting performers there. There was all young females dressed in, I guess, sort of like festival wear.
Oh, okay.
So there was no side given or anything for this audition. It was just you were just going in, and then they would ask you to do something.
Were we talking TV commercial?
No, it was for a feature.
Oh, cool.
And basically, I could hear it. Often thin walls in these places.
The thinnest walls. Sometimes they're just glass doors that you can.
Why do we even have walls?
Everything through. It's like genuinely a curtain that's stopping you from seeing everyone audition.
Yeah,
I hate it because you're in there, and then sometimes people are like they're chatting with the casting director and they're like laughing so much, and I go in and like, hey, how are you? And I'm like,
it's like they hate me.
Oh god,
I'm not as funny as the other person.
Yeah,
yeah. So it was a very intimate.
Waiting room.
Yeah. And basically I could hear these young girls going in, and I could hear like talking, and then mad screaming and cheering, and then that was it. And then they would try it again and mad screaming like they were at a concert, and then leaving, and then they would leave the room to a silence in the waiting room and just like looking down, making no eye contact, and just walking out.
I never know. Are you meant to say goodbye to everyone else? Are you meant to be like, good luck? I feel like such a
flick them a smile. Always flick them a smile.
I like the finger gun and a wink. I've never done that before as well. FYI. I've never said FYI as well before. You make me so nervous, Henry. But it's the most awkward when you're leaving. Yeah. Unless you know someone, because then you're kind of like, all right, see you, mate. Good to see you again. That kind of thing. Yeah.
I mean, I always just figure people are in the zone or in their own...
Or everyone's just like...
feelings, because they haven't done their audition yet.
Yeah.
So, like, just assume that everyone just wants to be alone.
And everyone's trying to be silent as well, because if you can hear everyone in the room, everyone can hear you out of the room as well.
Yeah. So everyone would walk out of that room and be like, I know you all just heard me screaming.
Yeah.
And let's just move on. And so basically I had heard a few people do that. And I thought, well, they're all young girls. Maybe I won't have to do it. Okay. Maybe I'm being seen for something else.
Were you wearing festival wear as well?
No.
Okay.
I was just in... I don't even remember what I was wearing. Probably white shirt and jeans. Anyway, so I went in and basically I had to... it was for a festival type scene.
Okay.
And I had to pretend I was at my favourite band.
Okay.
And say it was the Beatles. And then I had to just sing whatever Beatles songs. It wasn't about singing good. It was just about screaming. And like rocking out. And then I have to imagine that I've accidentally bumped into someone and hurt them. And then I had to mime security escorting me out of the festival. And then being waiting on the side of the footpath. And then just kind of just improvise and talk to myself about how disappointed I am. And this is all, as you can imagine, you're in a tight frame, and so it's like a 2 feet by 1 feet like rectangle.
So for anyone that doesn't know, like like the shot on you is it's like maybe down to your belly button, maybe. Yeah. So you can't move around a lot, especially when you get wrestled by security, who's not in the room as well. No. They're all imaginary people. No,
it is all mime. And
so I presume it went great.
It was so awkward.
Yeah.
It was so...
They always are.
It was... I just remember doing it and thinking, well, I don't think it'll get much more awkward than that.
Yeah.
And
I'm always amazed because I'm like, I get that you need to kind of see some of that stuff, but you're like, me miming things when there's not other people here, physicality wise or physically, I'm like, this is more of a detriment than you just imagining if I can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is part of it. And imagine if you're in some fucking CGI film when you're acting with a tennis ball on a stick. Like
that's very
I
true.
do get that it's part of it, but I think also when you're not prepared and it's like, and it's, early in the morning, you're nervous and you've got, a small square to stand in and improvise all this stuff. A slight heads up I would have done way better.
Yeah, I think so. Mentally preparing for things is fantastic, honestly.
Some people really need that, and I'm one of those people.
Yeah, no, me too. I like to know what I'm going into. I love improv as well, personally, though. Right. Like, so I really I'd rather improv than learn lines. But yeah, all that kind of stuff's always so awkward. Whenever they ask, because I'm a stunt performer as well, so I'll get the occasional brief for like, we need an actor who can do stunts or a stunty that can act. So they'll be like, all right, you get punched here and you get wrestled and then you have to say this line and then you get thrown to the ground. But none of that. Like, that's the audition, but there's nobody else to do that to you. So you're pretending to get punched, you're pretending to get wrestled, and you say your one line and then you get thrown on the ground. But like, it's all just you acting like a clown. Yeah. Like, it's just, it feels degrading sometimes.
I think showing that you're up for it and showing that you just have to throw yourself around is half
but that's what I have a stunt reel for.
Yeah, that's true.
Why do you put all this time into your show reels? and then nobody...
I know what you...
I know, right? They just look at your headshot and they're like, we'll give them a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. Anyway. Did we have any other auditioning stories?
Any auditioning stories? I feel like embarrassment and shame just comes with doing auditions.
I think shame's a big one. I haven't had too many people mention the word shame on this podcast before, but shame is a big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you walk out and you're driving home, and God forbid you have to get public transport home afterwards, and you're just sitting there and you're being like, the fuck did I just do? Yeah. At least in your car you can kind of get rid of all that weird energy. Yeah. On public transport you're sitting like sweating way more than anyone else on public transport. Yeah. And being like, what? Oh no! Why did I do that?
I would feel it all the time in music theatre auditions because I'm not a dancer at all.
Yeah,
and
right.
Often, particularly if you're, trying to break into the industry, the best way to do it is to be in the ensemble and cover lead roles. To be in the ensemble, you need to
be a fantastic dancer
generally, and then also be able to sing so you can cover. And so the amount of times I would just go to these auditions where it's like I knew I could sing the material I was covering, but there I was dancing, and it was just the most embarrassing thing because I'm just like, I can't. I was like, I could learn this if I had if I had like a week even, and then, which is what you would get in the rehearsal period. Of course. But if you just want to like test my muscle memory right now and then make me dance next to people who are really amazing dancers.
Yeah, right.
Like, it's so embarrassing.
Yeah.
I just don't do them anymore, or dance calls.
I don't blame you. They're like the sort of cattle call style auditions as well, where there's like...
Oh, they can be. It's a great way to see a heap of people at once.
Yeah. At least you can kind of hide in amongst it.
Although, well, generally when it gets to... You can hide when you're all learning it,
yeah.
but generally it's like you get put into groups of 3 or 4.
Oh, do you? And everyone else is sitting at the side watching you?
Yeah.
Fuck, that sucks.
Yeah, and sometimes you're at the front of the group. You say you're in a square and you're like, I need to be at the back so I can copy someone. Or so I can just like have someone
that's
remind
a great
me.
idea.
But it's not where you...
Those rooms have so many mirrors in them as well, so you can never hide yourself from your own shame. You can see them. I swear to God, I'm like a magpie or something. As soon as there's a mirror, I just start staring in a mirror.
Yes.
And I'm like...
I think you mean a narcissist.
Oh, yeah, sorry, that's it. Yeah. I get confused between the two sometimes. I'm a massive narcissist, so I just watch myself in the mirror all the time. But I find that, it's really hard to pay attention. And then there wouldn't be mirrors in real life when you're there. So I'm like, But that's why I'm not getting all my auditions. That's what I'm trying to say, Henry. I'm not because... Yes. Anyway, moving on. Did we have anything else as well as far as prepared stories, or are we wanting to...
I feel like prepared stories.
Or just anything else. I always find in the podcast, a lot of people start... I think it's... You repress these memories so much.
Yeah.
And then during the podcast, it's like, oh, fuck, this happened, and then this happened, and this happened. I also find 9 times out of 10 people will message me afterwards, be like, I just remembered this fucked story. So I do apologise if you are sitting in your bed tonight.
I think I will be.
Oh, good.
I have a really bad memory, so I will remember.
That's the best thing to do. I mean, it's rough for remembering lines and stuff like that, but it's also nice to forget sometimes too.
I forget everything. I do remember I was doing a show in at the Hayes in Sydney, which is a small...
Oh, fuck. That's
theater.
A beautiful little theatre up there. Yeah.
It was called The View Upstairs. I loved that show. It was such an amazing team and a beautiful piece. But my character in it was a fashion designer, and he essentially made an outfit out of duct tape. Like in the show, then there was this drag performance where the drag... character came out and performed in the outfit.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Like, spoiler alert, like the outfit there was a pre-made duct tape.
Don't you dare ruin the magic of theatre, Henry. He did it all on stage himself.
It was 5 years ago, we can talk about it.
No, don't break the immersion.
But in the scene prior to that, I had to sort of make a couple of panels out of duct tape, and that was given the illusion that I was making the whole outfit. And so I was making them and doing the scene and all the dialogue whilst doing it. And I put the bit of the tape on my mouth to tear it.
Oh, yeah.
Which I would always do. Anyway, it got caught on my lip.
Oh.
And I pulled the tape off, and it took out a big chunk of the skin on my lip.
Oh my God. Yeah. How strong was that duct tape?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It was like black duct tape. And which is what duct tape is.
Yeah.
And
I have purple duct tape at home.
Right. Yeah. And I... basically was bleeding, and in this show I should mention it was a 1-act show. I didn't leave the stage.
Oh, fantastic.
From start to finish,
so you cannot stop the bleeding.
I didn't even have time for water in that show. Like, it was on it the whole time.
Fantastic.
And I knew I had a big kissing scene coming up.
Oh my God.
And so I was doing this. My scene partner was singing his song, and I'm just like sucking my lip.
Being very...
away from the audience, look like I'm, and very unconvincing seduction.
Yeah, I was going to say, just sucking half your face in.
And just trying to maintain it. And then when it got to the kissing scene, I basically turned my head in a way, so he was only getting half my mouth. But
a side of the mouth kiss. What a strange...
I mean, I just didn't want to bleed.
I mean, that's the good thing. I mean, do not swap blood. I mean, on stage, off stage, generally, rule. But like, what a bizarre... I presume your fellow performer saw this as well, that you were bleeding? Yeah, okay, so it wasn't just like a really off kiss for the night. I mean, it was, but for a good reason.
I mean, it already was. Like,
it's stage kissing. Any intimacy for TV, film, or theatre is never fun.
I mean, then these days, as it should be, it's quite choreographed.
Oh my God, yes. Intimacy coordinators are so fucking welcome.
Yes.
Yeah, but so you were bleeding at the side of your mouth and having to have a little kiss.
Yeah,
so
not ideal.
Obviously, at the end of the night, you had to take a bow.
Yeah.
So everybody could see your face and a bleeding
mouth? I
mouth?
I think it had stopped bleeding at that point, good. But it was... it was ugly. It was
Yeah.
like a scar on my mouth. But
A nice big scab.
Yes.
Was it there for the next few nights as well then?
I think we had a day off the next day.
Oh,
from
okay,
memory,
good.
So but it kind of chilled out. But
Yeah.
just put some paw on it. And
Nice. Did you
get
put
on
the
with it.
duct tape back in your mouth again at any point?
Not once.
No.
And the outfit looked shit from then on because I
Yeah,
needed.
wow. That's so funny. So that's a lovely little story that yourself and Carrie made a judge share, where she
What?
split her lip open on stage, bled all over a performer as well.
Oh, in Lazarus, that's right.
Lazarus, yep,
Yes.
there we go.
Yes.
So musical theatre's fucking dangerous.
It
You
is.
think all these cool action movies are the dangerous ones? Musical theatre.
It is.
So many people fucking rolling ankles and stuff in high heels and
All the
madness.
time.
Madness. But
Yeah.
what if that's all your stories, I would love to tell a little story about us, if that's quite alright with you, Henry. About a little audition that we did together.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. This would have been, I think, literally just after this show as well. Back 2018, was it?
It literally was that.
Yeah. So I didn't audition, but I helped Henry. And at the time, I thought I was helping. In hindsight, probably hindering. I wasn't stunt performing at this time. I didn't really understand how to set up choreography for camera and stuff like that. So if we recreated this now, it would have been much better. But I'm just saying that my choreography abilities were quite bad at the time. But we filmed an audition for Power Rangers. Yeah, in the park.
Yeah.
Botanical
Gardens.
In the Botanical Gardens, just before an AFL football game was starting. So we had crowds of people walking past
We
us.
did not. You're exaggerating.
We did. We genuinely did.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh.
You were too in the zone. Too busy being the red Power Ranger.
I was the blue one. You were the red one.
That's all. My apologies. I did.
Yeah.
You made me wear a red top there. We had a child come up to us at one point.
Start doing karate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sit down, watch us, and then show us his karate moves.
Yeah.
For what felt like too long.
Yes.
Without his parents coming up as well. If I saw two adult men pretending to beat each other in the car, it's like, no, child, do not speak to them, please. And then some of my friends walked by as well, just completely accidentally, and saw us like pretending to fight each other in the park. And it wasn't a great audition purely because I couldn't
No, it wasn't a great
choreograph.
audition because all I had to do was show that I could fling some high kicks. And
Yeah,
move around.
exactly. So you did a beautiful butterfly kick, I believe, at one point.
I don't remember that.
Oh, do you not? Okay, that was the ending of the video. I think. Do you still have the video anywhere? I think I might somewhere.
I don't think I would know.
Oh, okay, I'll send it to you after this.
I really don't want to.
Maybe we can put it on the Instagram page as well. No. So you're the second person to refuse that. One of our previous guests, Jessica Stanley, did and I'm being polite, a worse Power Rangers audition. She didn't fight anyone. She showed me it live on the podcast. It was bad. And Jessica, if you're listening, I love you, but that was one of the worst things I've ever seen. I'm just saying. So I'm so happy that there's been multiple Power Ranger auditions on this, and I've done plenty. I looked back at one of my old Mortal Kombat auditions.
Oh yeah.
Which also I filmed in the Botanical Gardens. And
Yeah.
it was one of the most embarrassing auditions I've ever done, I think. And looking back at it now, I'm like,
What did you have to do? Were you fighting?
yeah, just fighting. But I was really bad. It was before I really understood like choreography for camera.
Yeah, right.
I didn't edit it down. It was like 3 minutes long of just dog shit rolling around in the grass.
Yeah.
It was bad. So, but I'm so happy we have that memory together as well. And I will send you
I
the
was
video
happy, but
afterwards.
now I realize you're gonna hold that video over me for the rest of my life.
This is, I say this every week, this podcast never gets released. It is mostly just blackmail material for all of you much more famous people than me. So your next show that you're
I got
doing...
shit on you from the trunk days.
How dare you? No, this is all lies. This is all lies. We're finishing this podcast up now very quickly. Oh, Jesus Christ. But yeah, for your next show, I'm just going to message and I'll be like, hey, any parts in it for a middle-aged white Scottish man that can't sing, dance, or probably can't act either? And then I'll be in there. Ensemble, dancing in the background, a little two-step.
If any roles come up for a mute sex offender, you'll be the first one I call.
Wow, well that part's getting edited. I can fall over. I'm pretty good at falling over now.
You sure
yeah.
are.
No, God. Oh, I think I fell on my face during this podcast. But thank you so much for coming on, Henry. Your incredibly busy, famous lifestyle.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
I'm in his
I'm
beautiful studio apartment overlooking this city, beautiful blue skies. He has his walls are adorned with all of his awards.
You are the biggest dickhead I've ever met.
That's also very true. I am being a bit of an arsehole just now. But thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Where can people find you? Do you have anything you want to spruik? I would like to spruik Henry Rollo on Spotify, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I'm going to release some more songs next year.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And it's fucking time consuming and costs a lot of money.
Yeah, it's funny that, isn't it?
It's hard to do whilst I plan to do way more this year whilst doing Rocky Horror, and I just realised that I didn't have the energy.
It's the one that you have up there just now, Open Heart Surgery, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so highly produced in the respect of it sounds so fucking professional, but my god, a lot of work goes into that, right? Yeah, whereas like you can kind of record stuff in your iPhone and chuck it up, which is dog shit,
Well, I also just find with so much work that goes into it, your taste changes, and and because it can take so long, particularly if you're waiting on other people to do their part.
Yep.
And it's so hard to finally just release something because you've listened to it so many times, you get so sick of it.
Yeah, and you go back to it weeks, months afterwards, and you're like, oh, maybe I'd change this part. It's the same with all recorded media, I find. That's why it's nice to fart these podcasts out very quickly and then be like, get out of here, podcast.
Like art is never finished, it's abandoned.
Yeah,
like that's
exactly.
The way I have to look at it, because there's always something you could change.
Exactly, yeah. And if you're waiting for, what is it? Perfection is the enemy of good, or what? I don't know. I've fucked that saying. Whoever
is creativity, is that what it is?
Perfection is the I don't know. Whoever is smart enough, call in now and tell me what the fuck I'm trying to say. But I genuinely love that song. I think it's so good. So everyone go and listen to it. Can you download things from iTunes nowadays? I don't really know how.
You can buy it on iTunes, but everything's on Spotify these days. So just stream it on there if you like.
Can you go and buy the CD single and I don't know, what's the HMV over here called? Insanity?
Sanity?
Yeah. Is it going to be available in Sanity?
No.
Well, Sanity, if you're listening, I can pass on Henry's contact details. I can pass on his address. Anyone else that wants his address, $5 on my PayPal, and I'll give that out as well. But I would suggest go and listen to it a million times on Spotify. And then keep an eye out for, was it early next year you're hoping to release some more stuff for?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and probably another musical next year, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, very exciting. But if people want to keep up to date on what is happening, is it Henry Rollo?
Graham,
that's it, yeah. So Henry Rollo Graham on Instagram?
Yeah.
Are you on any of the other fucking weird ones?
I don't really use them.
No,
it's too much. It's
fucked.
I'm not very good at like constantly creating content. It doesn't really interest me.
I never remember to take photos of anything. I'm happy with anything I do as well. So I never post anything I think I post more on the podcast Instagram than anything else. But so check Henry out on Instagram as well. That'll be where you're keeping everyone up to date with all the upcoming stuff.
Probably, yeah.
Oh, how mysterious. Henry never wants you to know where he is at any given time. And then for the show as well, the same every week, you can find Won't Be Forgetting That Pod across Instagram and YouTube. You can find myself, Seb Muirhead, Muirhead, across Instagram and YouTube. I don't use any of the other ones, but I think I have accounts on there. So if you follow them, my apologies for it being really fucking boring. If you did like the episode as well, I say this every week, but genuinely word of mouth really fucking helps. Tell a friend, tell a couple of friends. If you loved Henry, message him inappropriate things in his DMs, please. Please do. That was edited in afterwards, but he said he really wanted it. But yeah, please do rate, review 5 stars. Write a lovely little review would be genuinely really helpful. And then I'm gonna say once again, Henry, thank you so much, you famous beautiful man.
You dickhead. Thanks, Seb.
Thanks mate.